Over the last year, US importers of music and audio gear have paid hundreds of millions of dollars in tariffs across major product categories. That includes electric guitars, band and orchestra instruments, microphones, loudspeakers, keyboards, cases, and accessories. These costs are absorbed first by manufacturers and importers, then passed through distributors, and eventually reflected in retail pricing. By the time products arrive at a store, these costs are already built into the numbers owners are working with. For most stores, this shows up as narrower margins and less flexibility, rather than a single dramatic jump in price. Most store owners already know that costs are rising. What makes this difficult is the way that those increases arrive while everything else continues at full speed. Lessons, rentals, repairs, staffing, scheduling, and customer conversations. When multiple pressures stack at once, pricing decisions tend to get made quickly, often in the middle of a busy day without much space to step back and evaluate how those changes will land with different customers. The same industry pressure can surface very differently depending on who's standing in front of you. With music parents, questions tend to focus on affordability and fairness. Even small increases can feel significant when they show up alongside lessons, school programs, and other activities. With band directors, pressure tends to show up indirectly, through budget approvals, timelines, and conversations about what is still possible within a program. With hobbyists, higher prices often combine with uncertainty. When choices already feel complex, added friction can slow decisions or stop them entirely. The pressure itself is shared, but the way it is experienced is not. When costs rise, stores often drift toward a few familiar responses. Some owners adjust prices quickly to keep numbers aligned. Some try to offset increases by leaning harder on promotions or discounts. Others hold off on changes, waiting to see whether conditions settle. These responses usually come from a need to keep things moving, not from a lack of care or awareness. The challenge is that the same response can have very different outcomes depending on who it affects. Based on current patterns, many stores are likely to continue seeing 1. More frequent wholesale adjustments rather than occasional large ones. 2. Greater distance between entry-level pricing and mid-tier options. And 3. Customers reacting more strongly to unexpected changes than to the gradual ones that are explained early. None of this necessarily points to declining interest in music products, but it does suggest that pricing conversations may require more attention than it did in the past. This is where a customer lens can be useful, not as a solution, but as a way to slow decisions down. Instead of asking, what should we do about this price increase? The question becomes, who does this affect and how? For example, with music parents, a price increase on a beginner instrument might prompt more questions than resistance. In practice, this often means spending a little more time explaining rental paths, trade-in options, or how long an instrument is expected to last, rather than changing the price again just to avoid the conversation. With band directors, the same increase might shift the conversation towards timing. Stores often find that giving early notice, offering alternatives, or adjusting expectations around repairs and maintenance keeps relationships steady even when budgets are tight. With hobbyists, higher prices often calls for clearer guidance. In many cases, hesitation comes less from cost and more from uncertainty. Narrowing choices or explaining why one option fits their situations better than another can keep decisions moving without touching price at all. In each case, the response is different, not because the store changed strategy, but because the context changed. Stores cannot control where industry-wide costs originate. They can control how pricing changes are introduced, how conversations are framed, and how much uncertainty customers are left to manage on their own. Small adjustments in timing, explanation, or guidance often reduce friction more effectively than broad pricing moves. Rising costs in the music industry are already part of the environment most stores are operating in. If you've dealt with price changes or cost pressure in your store recently, drop a comment and share what's been hardest to navigate, or what's worked better than you expected. Those real-world examples help shape the future videos. And if this kind of industry update is useful, subscribe for my next video, and share it with anyone you know who works in the music store industry. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.